Hi, Pat Fenner here from Breakthrough Homeschooling, and in today's video what I'd like to do is show you how to use a unit study approach in middle school to help set your student up for success in high school. So it's a little couple of steps here that we'll be looking at. Basically what it is you want to help your student to develop not only independent learning but the ability and interest to dig deeper in subjects that will then enable them to succeed in high school. So what we're starting out here is the middle school unit study. We're starting out here with a learning web, and we're going to, I'm using as an example a learning web that I did regarding the beach. Okay, this started out as what we called summer school, which I know if you've had kids in the traditional school system is kind of an insult, but we were year-round homeschoolers, so that's what we did. But we always did fun things in the summer. So we're going to study the beach. So that's going to be our middle circle, okay? And everything from there is going to lead from that. So what we did, now you can do this in a variety of ways. The way that we did it was we pulled out subjects from that topic. So here we're going to have science, math, and I'm going to start with math in a minute, language arts. And for those of you that are more technology, have more of a handle on technology, you can do this in Canva probably too. Let's see, science, math, language arts, and history. Okay, so now I want to start with math because math we really didn't do much with. Our kids still kept working on whatever math programs that we were using during middle school. I do have some ideas here. We had things like figuring mileage, which you could do, if you're traveling and things like that. We had, let me just grab my glasses here, I'm sorry. Because we're at the beach, we figured out and graphed the times for high and low tides. So tide studies were really, it was fascinating. We worked on our budget, so we had money things, and the kids kept track of, this was our budget for the trip, and as we spent things, we kept track of that. And then they also categorized, so that's kind of, money related. And then also we categorized and then did graphs, on, shells and rocks and plants and things like that. It all depends where you're going and everything. Okay, so that was math. And then we just kept, during the drive, we did just keep working on that. It's science. Now, we started out, of course, with getting library books. So in science, we studied oceanography, which also included currents, and I'm not going to write all this stuff down. Tides, again, as we talked about in math, estuaries, and estuary life, and how this all relates to the oceans, and sea life and shore life. We did that as well. Weather and unit studies, and wind. Everybody knows there's plenty of wind. The ocean, freshwater and saltwater, and we did. Let's see, fresh and saltwater. You notice my writing's getting worse and worse as we're doing this. We also did a neat I'm a Venn diagram fanatic. I just love using that visual tool to compare things. And so we did lots of Venn diagrams on this kind of stuff. Freshwater and saltwater was tons of fun. So we did that. Okay, history. Now, as I said, we were at the beach, and fortunately there were lots of lighthouses and history where we were at. So what that enabled us to look up was, we looked up the lighthouses that were there and plugged that into the times that they were built, what was going on in our country at the time. So it was very American history oriented at that time. We did, also because there were ships, we went into the history of ships and sailing and water travel. Also led to the early explorers because the ships were meant by early explorers. We did a timeline, so we were able to put on a timeline the different events that we were studying, and that was how we covered history for that particular trip and study. In language arts, and I'm going to stop writing at this point, you guys get the idea. We kept a journal, of course. That was kind of a no-brainer. I had the kids at one trip write a short story based on an interesting character from the trip. It could be somebody who is fictional, somebody from history, or it could be somebody fictional that we just came up with on one of those studies. We created word searches and crossword puzzles. We also found a very cool crossword puzzle book related to the beach at one of the museum gift shops, and that was tons of fun because they didn't have to start from scratch. And also the words that we found in those became the basis for vocabulary, a vocabulary thing. We also did creative writing. So we studied haiku, and that was lots of fun, and created some haiku as a family, or other types of poems. That's just what we did. The older ones did a research report on a topic of their choice. And I really kind of gave them full reign, and so we had a nice variety of things. And then I do have a son that is interested more in theater, movies, kind of things like that, and encouraged him to write a movie script or a play based on our vacation experience, and that was a lot of fun. So that was language arts, and I didn't mention there were fine arts here for art. So we did a lot of illustrating the above in the journals, and I encouraged pencil drawings and sketches and things like that. They have cameras, and asked them to put and this was, I have to admit, in the time of before digital cameras. So they actually took pictures, film pictures that we developed, and then created collages with, which were kind of a neat memory then, as of the trip. We did lap books with photos, souvenirs, and stories, and things I downloaded, printables that I downloaded that we could color in, or we did get a coloring book from one of the lighthouses and use that too as part of the collage. It was really very, very creative, hands-on stuff. And we also did geocaching, which was kind of led into our history and how the explorers discovered and traveled, and how they navigated and knew their way around, versus how we were doing it with geocaching. So that's something that's really fun, can plug into anywhere you go. So that is how we used unit studies in middle school. And once we came up with our learning web, and of course this, I wanted to also let you know, this is never really done. After we got home, it took us a little while before we got back into the regular school routine. And so I encouraged the kids to keep adding to this. If, for example, when we were studying estuaries, in science, were there particular animals that you were more interested in? And let's find out about them, or plant life. And of course, I have plenty of guidebooks, which, trees, birds, wildlife, all those things that are awesome resources to use. And I just kind of collected them over the years, and they were very helpful in doing things like that. And so that encourages your tween at this point in middle school to just kind of dig in a little deeper with their studies. And they're doing research without knowing it. So just don't tell them it's research. But that helps them once they're in high school to not be afraid, to not be intimidated by researching, whether it's, books or movies or visual stuff on the computer. How we wrapped all this up when we got home then was that, videos, games, things like that too, and that kind of reinforced what we'd learned and experienced. So that's how you can use unit studies during middle school and kind of lay a foundation for your kids to be excited about and interested and able to dig a little deeper when they get into high school. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below or wherever you're seeing this video. Thanks for your time, and good luck with your homeschooling, and have fun whatever the season. Take care. Bye-bye.